Most people think that The Matrix was a movie about humans trapped inside a computer simulation. I think it was a warning, not about machines, but about a system. Systems that shape how we think, how we believe, what we chase, and what we accept as normal. In this video, we're going to explore a simple question. What if the Matrix is real? And what if we've been living in it this whole time? So let's get into it. The Matrix is real. How the education system, debt, work, and entertainment keep you trapped inside. There's different levels to the Matrix. There are essentially 5 different levels. So obviously, we can go into more, but number 1 would be education. Number 2 is workforce. The debt is number 3, consumerism, and then we have entertainment. Let's start with education. Level 1, basically the blueprint for manufacturing obedient citizens. Rockefeller's General Education Board in 1902 stated that we shall not try to make these people thinkers. They wanted workers and not citizens. So the education system that we have right now actually started because of the Industrial Revolution, is basically realizing that the people working in workshops or different machinery didn't know how to read the instructions, and so they realized that these people needed to learn how to read at least, so there wouldn't be any incidents, right? So they created this educational system where you basically start going to school, and you go to school for 13 years, institutional conditioning before adulting. Remember that as you're born, essentially from 0 to 7, you're pretty much developing your personality, you're developing who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And they knew this. They essentially knew this. And they said, well, we're going to have them start in kindergarten at the tender age of 5 years old, which is crazy to me. So, in the system that we have right now, there's literally no mandatory classes on personal finances, on taxes, or investments at all. We don't learn about how to invest our money. We don't learn about compound interest. We don't learn about Roth IRAs, the stock market, how to invest in the stock market. And the Bell schedule within the education system and the school systems are essentially age segregated classrooms, standardized testing. These are factory floor features. They train you to respond to bells, sit in assigned seats, and basically produce on command. So you don't have any really critical thinking or questioning of the system within our education. Actually, the teachers, and this is no offense to teachers, obviously they're also within the same curriculum and they have to abide by it. But the teachers are actually complying with the system itself, and they're teaching children not to question, right, the history or question any of the teachings. You're taught what you to think, not how to think. And history is written by winners. Economics is never taught. Taxes, investments, like I mentioned, or starting a business, basically. So this is our educational system that is, like I said, basically training us to be obedient citizens. And that's what we are. We are obedient citizens. And that's why we are essentially complacent with everything that happens within our society. From a government standpoint, we definitely don't stand up to them because we were programmed to be obedient, right? Since we were 5 years old. The second level to this is the workforce. Basically, you keep labor costs low, keep workers replaceable, and keep them afraid. So the 40-hour work week wasn't created to protect workers. Henry Ford introduced it to maximize productivity by preventing worker burnout, a corporate efficiency tool rebranded as generosity. 90,000 hours is what an average person spends at work in their lifetime. 90,000 hours. That's your life just given away to capitalism. Before you earn a dollar in our current system that we have, the government takes up to 37%. They call it withholding it. It was introduced during World War II. as a temporary measure, and it never left. And now it's not just the government, not just our taxes or the taxes that is taken from our employment, but if you go to purchase anything, sales tax there's now federal and state tax, and then you have your sales tax and then whatever other tax is on top of that. Job security is a myth engineered to keep you compliant. The threat of being fired is the leash. You don't need to be fired. Just the possibility keeps most people in line their entire careers. I myself have been a victim of this system. Obviously, I've been working since I was 15 and a half years old, essentially, working a job 9 to 5. And I also, obviously, like, you are replaceable. There's no such thing as security. I've been laid off before as well. The company that had to do a reduction of force is what they call it, a riff, if you will. And I have been part of a riff myself where you just lose your job and you lose your livelihood and you're left with zero. I'm still trying to recover from a layoff from 2024. And it's not easy to bounce back. You lose not only your livelihood, but you do lose your confidence. You just lose some part of you. It's just like devastating after you've been with a company for a few years and they just, let you go like that. Like, we're going to give you 2 paychecks and, best of luck in your endeavors, is what they say. There is no such thing as job security. The corporate ladder was designed so workers compete against each other rather than questioning the structure above them. Divide and conquer inside your own office, basically. And we see that all the time, right? Like, strive for more, hustle, just climbing the corporate ladder. Like, that's literally some people, some of our goal is to climb the corporate ladder and hopefully get to a place where we get good money for not working that much. 42% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck by design, not by accident. 72% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and some don't even make it to the next paycheck. I've been a victim of that before, where you don't have enough. And now with gas prices going up, with groceries going up, basically we don't have a say on any of the economical inflation, it feels like. And we don't have a say in the reduction of maybe a tax percentage. And we have to continue working because that's our livelihood. That's how we put food on the table. And if you have children, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice to quit your job and do something else that you might like better. Or you don't have a choice to even quit your job if you hate it so much. You have to put up for it. You have to put up with it. And then you have debt. Level 3 is just that cherry on top. The debt that we sustain in a household is essential to economic stability. Let me read that again. Sustained household debt is essential to the economic stability. The Federal Reserve is not a government agency, and I'm gonna go deeper there in a different video. It is a private banking cartel that controls the money supply, sets aside or sets interest rates, and was never voted into existence by the American people. It was created in 1913 in secret on Jekyll Island. Now, there's the story about the Federal Reserve is out there, basically created in December of 1912 is when they actually signed it in. Some of the major players like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans were essentially in that meeting where they created the Federal Reserve and its interests. And I believe it was a congressperson with the last name of Aldridge that was there that helped get that into or helped sign that in to effect. I will dive deeper into the Federal Reserve creation in a different video, but the Federal Reserve is not a government agency. It's a private banking cartel that controls the money supply. Student loans cannot be discharged in a bankruptcy. So if you do file bankruptcy, those student loans stay on there forever. A law chart A law changed in 1978 at the banking industry's request, and you can walk away from a car loan, but not from debt you took on trying to improve your life. And this is crazy to me because at the age of 18, like you have, if you're going to a college fair, you're going to, like you are basically hounded. You're hounded to obtain these loans for you to go to school, for you to be able to dorm in the school. Like you're hounded to get these actual loans, and you start accumulating debt at the age of 18, which is really ridiculous because think about it. Our educational system does not educate on debt and how to manage your debt and how to pay back your debt to essentially be debt free. We don't get taught finances at school. So you're 18 years old coming out of your education where you had no education on interest rates, on finances and how to save or anything that has to do with finances. But at 18, you're given a loan for $30,000 to go to college. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Credit scores, and then we have credit scores. Credit scores were invented to make you basically perform for banks. Good behavior equals access to more debt. It is a social compliance score dressed up as financial health. A social compliance score dressed as financial health. Like they want you to have a good credit score in order for you to get more debts. The better debt, the better interest, the better score, the better interest rate you get on more debt. Now, there is a way to work the system. There's definitely a way, and there is definitely lots and lots of millionaires that and billionaires, I feel. And I feel like they get to that stature because they've learned how to work the system to their advantage, where they use their credit score to get, low interest rates on a debt, and they maneuver with their money, with certain loans and certain perks where they don't have to pay taxes on it, essentially. There's a lot of loopholes to our system, and I think in order for you to become a millionaire, you definitely, in my opinion, have to learn those loopholes in a way. And the US national debt is 34 plus trillion, meaning every citizen is born into debts they never agreed to. Generational financial servitude is the default setting. We literally have 17 trillion total US household debts, mortgage, auto, student loans, credit cards. $17 trillion. It's definitely not something that can be paid back in our lifetime. Like, it's just impossible. And then we have level 4, which is consumerism. So, not only with education that we not learn our finances, and then we have the workforce where they just take 30%, almost half of our earned income. And then we have debt that we have to accumulate essentially to even have a car or nowadays live, like literally just providing our livelihood and putting food on the table. We have to have a credit card because sometimes paycheck to paycheck doesn't go all the way, right? So we have consumerism. And one of the quotes here, we must shift America from a needs culture to a desire culture. And this was done so eloquently. In our society, I feel like the needs culture to desire culture came in probably after the 1920s, it shows here, right? So Edward Bernays invented modern advertising. He wrote propaganda in 1928 and told corporations use psychology to make people feel incomplete without your product. He literally called it engineering consent. Guys, you have been programmed to want more, to be more, to always be chasing the new iPhone, the new purse, the new shoe, the new style, the new everything. And unfortunately, now with social media and our kids being drawn to social media at a much younger age, this is getting out of hand. Because now you have kids that are 8, 9, 10 years old, whatever age that they're being allowed to be on social media, essentially, They literally now are demanding or wanting the better shirt or the better shoe or the brand's name purse, for example. And this is constructed. This was done by design. They use psychology and they still use psychology in our marketing and in our algorithms within social media to advertise to us, to get us to consume more. So the average American sees 4,000 to 10,000 ads per day. Every ad delivers the same subconscious message. You are not enough as you are. Buy this, become complete. 4,000 to 10,000 ads per day is what you are seeing on average if you are actively on social media. If your children are watching social media on social media, your children are seeing more because of their age, and they know that they can essentially, get them, for the lack of better term. 4,000 to 10,000 ads per day. That is insane. That is insane. Just think about that for a second. You're being exposed on average to 10,000 ads. And they're using psychology within their marketing. So obviously you are going to end up buying whatever you're seeing in some form or manner. Fast fashion, fast food, fast content, all engineered for rapid consumption and rapid disposal. You are not a citizen. You are a revenue event. They sell us everything, and we are getting essentially trapped in that cycle, because now you see even, people on YouTube or people that create like a digital book or something to sell it, and it's like, if they do good marketing, then they are going to get sales, because we are programmed to buy. We are programmed to buy. So not only are they taking 37% of our income up front, but we are being programmed on a daily basis, on average 10,000 ads exposed every single day. If you're active on social media, or if you're not active on social media, but you are driving to and from work, you're seeing billboards everywhere. If you're watching a YouTube video, or this video, for example, has ads, it could have ads. So you were being brainwashed. And this is by design. Consumerism is by design. Annual US consumer spending is 18 trillion. The engine the Matrix runs on is consumerism. $18 trillion. That's more than the debt that we have. That is insane. It's a system that was essentially produced to keep us in the quote unquote rat race. Sorry, my band-aid's coming apart. Entertainment. And then we have entertainment, which is another form of consumerism, but entertainment is keeping us literally distracted from all of the things. Entertainment is keeping us distracted from exactly this, the system that we live in. We get distracted by going to concerts, movies, by social media, a new movie on Netflix. Like, we get distracted by these things, and that doesn't allow us to even watch this video, for example, or actually think about the system that we live in, or even think about the fact that we go to school for 13 years and they don't teach us about finances or how to live in this world. And they don't teach us about, all of the things that are needed really to survive in this world. And then they take 37% of our income from our job that is not stable, that we could lay off, that we could be laid off for at any moment, that literally takes 90,000 on average of our hours in our lifetime. Like, I know it's I know it's a lot. I know it's kind of like irritating, because we know that this is true. Like, the matrix is real. The matrix that we live in is real. These systems have been created to keep the masses in a rat race, in the loop that they joked about. Social media platforms are not free products. You are the product. Internal Facebook documents leaked in 2021 confirm their algorithm intentionally amplifies outrage because angry users stay online longer. Your rage is monetized. We have to start paying attention to this shit. They're messing with us. They are literally dragging our energy down to keep us online and keep us scrolling longer. And they're providing these sob stories as well to keep us engaged and keep us scrolling longer. Netflix, TikTok, YouTube all use variable reward schedules, same psychology as a slot machine, to create compulsive use. Sean Parker, Facebook's founding president, he admitted we exploited a vulnerability in the human psychology. And the vulnerability is the scrolling. That is the same psychology that they use at casinos to keep people playing slot machines and keep people addicted to betting and gambling. So we have been psychologically programmed to now start scrolling on our phones. And by doing so, we get at average of 10,000 ads that are being shown to us to purchase things because we are a consumer society. The average American watches 4+ hours of TV per day. In a lifetime, that's 9 full years staring at a screen, consuming content designed by corporations to sell you things. You know what's crazy is that I realized I stopped using, or I feel like I consciously stopped using or watching things on Amazon Prime because they have ads on there as well. And now the ads like that show you whatever's on Amazon product, you could just click on it and add it to your cart on Amazon, or you could just click on it from your TV and purchase the item. And they have all of your debit card information, they have all of that information. So you could literally click to purchase on the ad. That was insane to me. Like, oh my God. Sports, celebrity drama, political outrage all serve the same function. Give the population something to argue about that doesn't threaten the people in charge. Guys, all of the social media or all of the media that we see is basically, they just give us bits and pieces of what's really going on in our politics and what Congress is trying to pass and whatever laws are coming in. The current administration, unfortunately, has cut so much funding for, in my opinion, programs that are needed. Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP. Like, we're living paycheck to paycheck. You already have us giving you 37% upfront of our income, and some, elderly are not even able to live. They're not even able to pay their livelihood because of their social security income and how little it is compared to the inflation that we've encountered, the last couple of years. Like, and this is not about administrations, this is not about Republican, this is not about Democrat. It doesn't matter. The system that we live in is a system that we live in, and it has no color. There is no blue, there is no red. There is just a system that they have created. They being basically the major corporations, or just the families in charge essentially of our system, which would be like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. And I feel like now the Trumps are trying to be one of those families as well. They're trying to use his presidency to gather as much money as possible to become one of the families that rules the world, in my opinion, is what's happening. Like, why is there so much money that they're making out of nowhere? Billions and billions of dollars Trump is making in his presidency. And nobody's saying anything about it. And we're just complacent, and because we're living in the system that has been set up for us to be suffering and not our power. And this is basically the connections of the matrix. You have the education, which builds compliance, obediency. You have consumerism that drains what's left. You have the workforce monetizes your time. Entertainment prevents you from awakening. You have debt that chains you in place. And then you stay small by design. So each system feeds the next, and together they form a closed loop. The closed loop is there And we could all see it and we could all feel it because we all feel stuck. We all feel there's more to life than just the way we've been programmed to live it. So escape one and escape others, escape one and the others pull you back. Basically, what that means is like if you escape basically being a consumer, but you still live in the workforce and you still have a job, you're basically still giving your 37% of income tax. You're still in debt, right? Like these things still pull you back. Like I get it. We want to be entertained, but because that's the only thing that we know. We only know this system that was created for us. We don't know anything else. And there's a few people that have awakened to this reality that this system does exist. And then you have those entrepreneurs that are making a way for themselves. There's some people that move away from the United States and the system that has been created here to live more freely somewhere else in a different country, which was crazy because we are supposed to be the country of freedom. Like that's I thought we were the country of freedom. So what do you do? What do you do? Knowing the matrix exists is the first step. Here's what unplugging looks like. You unlearn, you question everything you were taught, read outside the curriculum. So seek out suppressed history and alternative economics. Listen, it's not necessary for you to learn the real history. I mean, it may be, but the real thing is question everything that's happening now, right? Question the government and the current administration and the government ideals and what laws or what bills are trying to pass and put into place. Own your time. Build income that isn't traded hourly. Now, I know that that's very difficult because like I said, we're sometimes stuck in our jobs because there is nothing else that we can think of to do. But sometimes, even if you're good at baking cakes, like I know it sounds like it's going to take a lot of work, and it probably will, to build a business about around making cakes, but you can, and that's a way for you to own your time. And if you kill your debt, right, you basically reject lifestyle inflation. So live below your means. Financial freedom is freedom. I think the whole debt thing is knowing the system that we live in and knowing the loopholes within the system to be able to use debt to your advantage. Like I mentioned, like a lot of millionaires do, especially with like tax write-offs and stuff. When you see ads, you recognize consumerism as programming. Buy what you need, not what you're sold. Your identity isn't a brand. So just realize that they're using psychology to brainwash you to purchase things that are not even needed, like new clothes, new shoes. Like if you have more than 5 pairs of shoes, I mean, you really have to start thinking about like why. Am Are you trapped in the consumerism loop? Are you really aware that you're consuming as much, or are you just consuming because you want to keep up with the trends that are being advertised to you? You know, like know why and reclaim your attention. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Protect it. Silence is not boredom, it's power. Protect your attention from social media. Sometimes it's necessary for you to take a break from it. And I think we all need to reclaim our time. We all need to reclaim our life because you've been programmed since the beginning, and we're in this system that is literally programmed to keep us drained, really. Because I know this video might have drained you. This is a lot of information that has made you probably feel like, what the fuck? It's a lot of draining information because the system that we live in is draining. That's literally what it is. We have to just awaken to the system and take back our lives, take back what we know to be true, which is our time. And I feel like if there is enough people, or there is not enough people, but like the more people that awakens to this reality that there is a system, the more that we can essentially come together in community and overthrow the system, because there's a lot more of us than there is the people that are in charge of the system. So what now, Nancy? They can't keep you in the matrix only as long as you can't see the walls. The question isn't if the matrix exists, it's whether you choose to stay in it. And that's exactly what I wanted to share here with you. The Matrix is a system that they've created for us to be compliant and complacent and be stuck in, and we are stuck in that matrix. So if you're feeling stuck, it's understandable. There is a system that you're living in that is made for you to feel stuck. And if you need to rewatch this, I know this is a lot of information, but if you need to rewatch this or forward to pass it on to whoever you feel like you need to pass this on to. I'm going to be making additional videos and breaking this down a little bit more about the education system, the workforce, the consumerism, the debt, and so on and so forth. So if you like this video, if you stayed till the end, thank you so much for staying to the end and starting to wake up to what we've been living in. And I hope to make the other videos a little shorter. This one I know went a little longer than expected, but I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about bringing this to light. I feel like a lot of people know that this is true, or a lot of people feel like this is true, but they don't really know the facts about it. And I think that the more we know about the system that we have, the more that we can essentially come together and share ideas or possibly create a community where we can overthrow the system that we currently live in. Because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the system that we currently live in. I feel like we can definitely create a better educational system to help us, from the beginning to learn about emotions and compassion and empathy and love and learn about finances. And I believe there's a world to be made where you're out of elementary school at 10 years old or whatever the age may be, where you're set up with a college fund or Roth IRA or something. So stay tuned for more videos, like and follow, subscribe to the channel, and that helps obviously get it out to more people. And I'll see you on the next one.